fun times. I had started this video and did 15 minutes of it, and my daughter came out to ask me a question, and instead of hitting pause, I hit stop. So I'm going to start from here and not continue on the 15-minute rant of what I was talking about, which was like lucid dreams and stuff. Yay. Alright, cool. Well, anyways, moving on. Then I started talking about ETs. So we'll start with that. Why not? I'm going to talk about ETs today. So yeah, very tail end of what I was saying is, upon waking, I can backtrack to the stage of when I got lucid and how that progressed. The short amount of span of time, 10-15 minutes tops, feels like, of lucidity prior to waking state of now I'm awake. And whether or not I realize like who I am, like, oh, you know, I am Angi or whatever, right? Like as I'm going through that lucidity stage, then what happens is I wake up and I'm still in like an in-between state. But this in-between state can be different because it's like, how would you describe this? It's like I can hear sometimes in another voice, like I'm overhearing a conversation that I'm patched into or something between, I'd say people, but energy and or beings, maybe not human, because they seem to know more than we do as humans that are earth incarnated, and or they seem to be discussing things above our heads. So it might be English translating, but I don't know necessarily the topic, or like, I don't know, or how does it pertain to us. So I'm about to tell you something interesting that I don't want to say overheard, but like was part of and overheard, I guess you'd say both. So sometimes I could feel myself in more than one place at a time. Like, let's say there's layers to myself, and one of my layers, or a concentrated stack of my layers maybe, was in another location entirely. And this location would be akin to, let's say, a ship, like a one of them traditional UFOs, the kind that everybody knows about, the flying saucers, the silver circly ones, you know. AAK, a tin can is what we call them. But like, so in a tin can, and on a table surrounded by ETs. That's not who I was hearing. They were silent, but I was hearing telepathic transmission of what seemed, I felt like was a female, but if you're formless, so it's a feminine energy source, I guess you'd say. She was like talking, and they could hear her. I had a sense or a feeling like I was speaking her words through me. And I don't know how to explain how, if a concentrated part of my layering is somewhere else, that I could speak. And so I definitely had density because I was able to be physically touched by these beings. But what I would probably say is that these beings probably matched my energy, as in, whether they can shift their energy or not, they probably can. But like, they can match their layering to be the same as mine, so that it's like Earth as far as the density. But think about how, if they did have a dial of shifting, that they could, for example, maybe be more dense than I was, and then they could do things like to my body that would be more impactful than like, for example, my finger through my hand, it won't go. But if they can modify their density to be more extreme, then they could press through my hand. Does that make sense how I'm wording that? And so this energy being, though, that I think, speaking through her, or they heard it too. It's one of the two. Sorry. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. They were getting the same information I was. And so I'm having a lot of physical health issues, like where I feel physical discomfort and pain from on the regular. They're trying to help with that. And this is ongoing. My spirit guides have been trying to help with it. What their complaint was is that I'm not retaining it. So like at night they'll work on me. I'll wake up, even if I'm aware of it. You'd think being aware of it would work, but it wasn't. I just kept defaulting back to, so like, you know how you could wake up and maybe for a few moments or whatever, like you don't know necessarily that you're in pain or something, maybe. Well, not me. I was having pain throughout the night. My physical body was. I was just like sleeping to numb it out, basically. And then so I would be having, my dreams were stunted as a result. So if I take pain medicine, which I try not to take unless I'm like really, really bad off, because I don't have much of it. And so whatever I have left is what I got. And like, I'm going to have to figure something out if this can't get healed. And so they're working on it for me because it's something I really want. Not because I want to be healed by ETs or something, like, although that'd be cool, claim to fame and whatever not. More so, I really need this to be done with. I need this to be gone, you know? For me to be at my most optimal. Part of my brain was just like, I guess this is just how I am from now on and I gotta deal with it. And they're like, why? That's stupid. And I'm like, because my spirit guides have tried to heal it and they haven't been able to. And they're like, yeah, but you haven't had us try. And then again, I'm like, okay, but you have tried. And they're like, yeah, but this is different. So I don't know. There's something different that they're doing. So this lady, though, I just call her that for sake of ease. She said that she's in charge of Ascension. And she means, by the way, Ascension planetarily and or like humanity ascension. The ascension of the planet's humans is what I'm trying to get at. She's in charge of it, as in that's her department, and she's liaisoning with her department to us, myself, and these ETs. Man, this sounds so crazy. I love it. So anyways, again, I was awake, but I had just transitioned from a lucid dream. So I was in this like in-between state. So this is not unlike a dream, though. Like, I wasn't actually, me personally, my physical body was not on a ship. I was not doing all this. What it was is a part of me, energetically, etherically, was, you know? And so my consciousness was, my mind was perceiving, yes, I know, I'm aware. I'm laying in my bed right now. And I'm transmissioning this or whatever through, so I'm aware of it. If this happened to me, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been saying, are you guys gonna abduct me or not? Like, I want to experience that. Like, I want to have a claim to fame story, right? Like, I want to be able to say, so I literally saw this with my eyes, my own eyes, right? Like, I'm sitting out here and the freaking ship comes down and they're like, hey, what's up, you want to like come hang out? And I'm like, all right, sweet. And so yeah, I keep saying I want that, because not because I need the proof or anything, but I'm bored kind of normalcy. My life is nothing normal, true, like inwardly. It's just an outward appearance of normal. But I would love to have like a personal story. And if I tell it or not, I would tell it here, but nobody listens, so it's fine. Like, who cares? I could be like, I was abducted by aliens. People would be like, cool, you know, like, nobody would believe you. I love that. So anyways, this though that I'm talking about, This is like the best I'm gonna get probably ever in this incarnation. But, you know, I say probably. I'm just a pessimist, I guess. I used to be more optimistic. Something changed. I'm saying maybe I just have low standards for my threshold of what interests me or whatever, you know, like what impresses me. Because I'm just so used to being disappointed that not being abducted, they're like, we'll do it like this. And I'm like, that's fine. And they're like, man, she's just so easy to accommodate. Like, we don't even have to actually abduct her for her to be happy. Yeah, whatever. Okay, that's where we're at in life. I'm aware. So, so I'm laying here. I know these, I'd say dudes. I think they're all guys, but whatever. I know these dudes pretty well, at least on some level, because I think they do this regularly. And it's not like they need to. I think it's like for scientific purposes or something is the justification for why. And I'm allowing it because I'm like, I'm bored, you guys. Would run some experiments on me or something. So again, what they're trying to do is heal me etherically, and hoping that with repetition it'll work. And what they're saying is that because I took pain medicine last night and I was able to sleep better, hence why I was able to get lucid and astral, like, you know, project, travel, fly, whatever. I think I mentioned that on this video, right? I don't know. I definitely went into detail on the last one. Anyways, because I was able to be more like higher vibrational, literal, not like mentality. A lot of times we'll associate high vibe with like being fake, phony, spiritual. I feel like that's how I word it. But like, oh my God, I'm just so positive and stuff, you know. But if you're truly like that, I love you. Like, thank you for being you. I'm saying me personally, I'm not like that unless, like, give me a reason to be. Please, I dare you. So yeah, I'm more pessimistic and cynical and shit, especially regarding spirituality and this Ascension Lady too. Like, she's supposed to be a pillar, an exemplary pillar of positivity. She's not. She's like, so I've kind of chalked up to resign the fact that this is ever going to happen, this ascension shit. Basically, me personally, I'm supposed to be helping with this. It's like my mission while I'm here is to help with ascension in some sort of big way. It's not happening. Like, nothing's working. And I have decided I'm not going to, like, even bother anymore. Well, because, like, me doing this is not really going to do anything for ascension, right? Except I'm just basically relaying my notes from last night or whatever. So, this morning, and so I was talking to her. It was a back and forth at this point. And, you know, whether it's me speaking or my guide, we're kind of dually incarnated right now. He's, we're trying to come up with a name for him because I got my guide. He just goes by guide. And then I got my guide's guide. That's the one we're trying to figure out his name. We need a name for him because, like, all the names we came up with are like really dumb. So we don't like any of those. So I don't know. It just, to say my guide's guide all the time is like too wordy. But he, you know, he lived the incarnation prior to my guide and I living a life together. And he and I lived a life together, but like it was different. And I think one thing to say regarding all that is the order in which you live the lives determines the intensity of the connection between you and the others that you live with. So like when you reincarnate and you spent a lot of time with somebody and you were close, you're gonna really quickly, early on a subconscious level, all that's gonna, like, quote, come back to you, except your conscious mind hasn't registered it yet. Like, you'd have to download all that, and I didn't know that years ago. I just now know that more recently, you know. So I wouldn't even bother personally with that with, like, new people, but unless I felt some kind of kinship or whatever. But yeah, I would have lived my life differently if I had known about how to do that. If I were going to get in a relationship with somebody again, and if I were going to, like, have close friendships again, I'd be a lot more, like, internal about it and outwardly expressive about my findings or whatever. I can't really see myself being close with people that aren't on the same page with this kind of stuff. And I really feel like the more I go spiritually, the more isolated I am, because I don't know of anybody that would be doing what I'm doing, like I'm saying, like the lucid dreaming, and then upon waking, the telepathic transmissions and such. So yeah, Ascension Lady agrees. She's just like, might as well just keep living for it right now, you know what I mean? Like, just keep doing what you're doing your best, whatever. And so, to help me best, my guide is like the intermediary between the spirit stuff, all the things that I know that I'm privy to because of my involvement with him over the last however long. He's like, you know, a lot of stuff, and it doesn't really seem applicable to the human experience. So until and unless it becomes relevant, you just know it, and you just, like, you're like a storage of all this kind of information. What's the point? I don't know. We're just living life, you know? So yeah. The ETs are doing this thing where they're going to be, like, trying to repeatedly heal me more effective when I'm already doing, like, better. So don't wait until you're really bad off to then ask for the healing, because you have to be in a more receptive state for it to hold. I would say, dare I say, you have to actually be aware of it and believe it for it to work the best. So there's, like, let's say on a scale of 0 to 100% of how well the healing that they do on you will take. Again, they're doing it with the justification of for scientific purposes. So meaning, if it works or not, they're not emotionally invested, because, like, they're not going to get discouraged. They're not going to get annoyed if it doesn't work, because they're kind of chalking it up to an experiment to see if, with this repeated thing, if it will work. And they have been doing it, but what they think is that if I'm in a state of receptivity, that all the times that they had done that didn't take might actually, like, amplify and work better now. But it's not permanent, you know. The human condition of the body holding stuff. So there's mind over matter, but then there's body over mind. And consciousness is the last on the list, as far as, like, I can consciously be aware that something is the case, but my mind has to wrap around it, and then my physical body has to wrap around it. And so that's the repetition that is needed. It's like muscle memory for the healing process. is how I would word that. So, but like I said, you know, the ETs are cool with trying repeatedly, even if it's not successful, and they know that it can just default back. They're like, whatever, we're like keeping record of like percentages and, you know, all like the stats of it and such. I know with certainty that they think it's cool that I'm talking about them. Like, you might want to know that they think that the fact that I'm talking about them right now is super cool, because they're kind of unnoticed, silent, like, or rather, let's say generally they're known for like abducting people and doing tests on them and stuff, or like messing with people. Not messing with, but like whatever, all the weird stuff that people have reported regarding alien abductions. And they can mess with your emotions, right? Like, so you can be afraid of that in them, and then they could like douse you with relaxation or whatever, so that you're not feeling it'd be like getting a shot in your IV and you all of a sudden pass out, right? Or something. It's like that, but emotionally speaking. So, because they can mess with your frequency, your energetics. This is gonna be while you're like in their care. You can ask for these things throughout the day. You can. But whether they work or not, again, it's that mind over matter and then the body over mind. The consciousness is last. So you do know this is partial channeled-ish, yeah? So like, I don't know. The way I'm wording it, I think is cool. Like, the way it's coming through is cool. And so don't think that they wouldn't want to straight up just like alien abduct me or whatever out of nowhere. But why they would or wouldn't choose to or not, they do have to answer to like a governing body. And it seems humans are the only ones devoid of answering to anyone or anything, but you do have to answer. Like, you do have to have a moral compass that people just seem to not have. Well, you'll pay for that one day if deemed warranted. But if not, and or otherwise, just because you weren't given direct, explicit guidance doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to think for yourself and like make good choices that don't hurt other people. I don't mean emotionally. I mean, we're all learning that's I think where we're at as a human race, is we're learning how to not hurt people emotionally, and some people are further along with it than others. So the ones that are more devolved, I think they're gonna stay capped in their bracket of, like, it's like, do you feel remorse? Do you feel bad about this? Do you understand the ramifications of what you've done as to words that you might have said or actions that you might have taken, how they might affect somebody emotionally? Because if you're still like in denial because it's painful and or it hurts to look at yourself and say, man, I'm really a bad person for what I did to so-and-so or whatever in the past. If you're still kind of like either in denial or you're like, oh, whatever about it. If you're like, oh, they just need to toughen up, or they're weak, you know, or something like that, you're not moving on to the next round of people who have passed the emotional intelligence of understanding that the things that they say and do can hurt other people in a deep way and how that might affect them. Then, you know, I get it, like, you might have certain factors that, oh, like, I was raised like this and I turned out just fine. Oh my God. Clearly you didn't turn out just fine, because you're well aware of having hurt other people and you're fine with that. Then you're gonna stay where you're at. And so You may never see this. This is going to be like your whole life continues as is. And upon your passing, you're going to find yourself in your next stage of existence, whatever that may be. There's certain people that are considered like admin. And admin people are needed to pass away so that they can get back to work. Basically, you were in an admin position. You said, hey, maybe I should like actually go in and try to help things from within, and I can get more done that way. Big freaking mistake for lots of reasons. Now we got people who got caught up in some bull crap and are going to be judged and jury executed, basically on a soul level. Their entire consciousness is going to be of this incarnation is going to be considered whole, and they're now like a split or a separate person, entity from their original. Now you're a whole new person entirely, and now we got to figure out what to do with you. Meanwhile, and or likewise, we kind of wanted that. Like, we wanted to have, we're like, you want a job done right, do it yourself. Go in, do things, whatever. Didn't expect there to be such a disconnect from your true state. And also, like, as spoken about earlier, like the emotional damage, yes, emotional damage, hilarious, of having done things to other people that you're going to have to account for. You can do it while you're incarnated, but most people don't and or aren't. And it's not necessarily just about going up to the other person and apologizing and saying, how can I make right? It sometimes is do unto others as you will have done to yourself kind of vibe, instant karma kind of vibe, but with a delay. You want it while you're incarnated, trust me when I say. However, what if it's the flip side where you've had undue karma done to you that you didn't deserve? Like, basically, it ricocheted off of the intended recipient. Like, who is supposed to be being treated like that? You got it instead. That's unfair. And so the person who did that to you, if they haven't come to terms with the fact that, like, they were pointing all this at you when it should have been pointed at this other person, basically, right? But they couldn't do that to the other person. Why? They needed them for some kind of reason. They were brainwashed into like thinking otherwise, like, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and like try to justify the behaviors or the actions for why this might have happened. But what I am saying is that it hasn't been balanced. And so what do you do when you have like an excess of whatever was like thrown at you unjustly, like you didn't deserve it, by somebody? I'm not talking about by like middle school bullies and stuff. That's kid stuff, though it can mess with you. And yeah, I get it. I'm talking about like soulmate level stuff. Like people that should not have and should never have and would never have. Scratching our heads going, okay, this makes absolute no sense. What are we going to do about it? Well, nothing. You're right? Like, what are we going to do about it? We just got to let it play out. So that's what we're doing. We're playing it out. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to keep living your life. And hopefully this healing stuff will take. I really hope so. No, a channel talking to you, whatever. Who cares? It's interesting in my opinion. I feel like when I talk to you, it can definitely be helpful for other people to hear that it works like that. You notice how it just shifts in and out all the time, and it's hard to keep straight. You got it, but I'm talking about maybe from an observer standpoint. we're not really concerned about that, though. And no, we're not doing this just for you. I will say, we're always intending that it be multi-layered, or rather multi-perceived or received. But we're talking through you in a way that, like, you have a platform, you have an invisible audience, you have the astral audience, and I know that you know that part. Like, that's helpful to you to know. You were listening to Andy's reading, which she just popped up as a notification for Insta, which you're not really on, but for some reason your freaking notifications are on you. Anyways, she was talking about one of her guides wearing like board shorts and a Hawaiian shirt and being super chill and whatever. Dude, you were rolling because you're like, okay, that's my guide. Like, right? The costumes. See, I heard what you said, but I responded to it in your head. Like, I'm like, right? So, like, how many back in like 2016, when you were doing your a lot of astral stuff, you kept encountering office people, admins, the staff wearing Halloween costumes, and you were like, why is this dude wearing like a Jolly Green Giant or like a elf? Like, you know, it's like hard. You're shifting so much when you're in that astral state. You're not your normal self. Let's put it like that. You know why? Or you know what I'm saying? You're following him down the hallway. And I wonder if I could even find a record of that dream or not. Sometimes they're just really strong impressions and you have them permanently and you don't make a note of it. But I'm really curious now. Did you record this one or not? Yeah. What's it called? Evernote. Is where all your old dreams are stored. Okay. Green. Giant. No results. Other notes came up, but they're not. Yeah, giants, blah, 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 because you had a dream about giants. There's a book that you took a picture of. Automatic writing, December 27th, 19. Might be my last of the year. Anything good to say? Not tonight. Better do verbal. For now. Good night. And then you had picked the King of Wands as a card, so you took a note of that. I don't know, man. It's so clear to you and vivid. You're walking down the hallway. You're following this dude. You're like, this dude's wearing a Halloween costume. He's dressed like Peter Pan, maybe, or something. But you're like, your brain is working so hard trying to like define what is this even. And let me explain to you though, when you guys are dreamers and we have to walk you down the hallways, you're usually in a dazed kind of state. Remember, your guide has told you it's pretty depressing to have to be guides of you guys when you're incarnated and have to deal with you when you're in this like altered state. Yeah, well, you get lucid and then you're all of a sudden like, hey, I have questions for you. I'm Angie from Earth. You know what I mean? And then everybody's like, whoa, wait, what? Angie's talking, right? Like, we can talk to you directly. Holy shit, you might remember this conversation. And so, you know, that's what's up. You're like, hey, I have questions for you. And you always ask these funny questions. Funny because you know the answers to them when you're not dreaming, right? I meant incarnated. Anyways, the terminology is backwards for us. So Earth incarnation is dreaming. But anyways, although it does apply because you're dreaming, you're on Earth dreaming. If you think about it, when you're with us, so it actually relates. So, but what I'm trying to say is your mind was alert, active, awake, aware, but of your Earth self. Because then what happens sometimes is you kick in as your admin self, and you're like, get out of my fucking way, I gotta go to work. It's so funny. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. But it's funny when you'll shift between kind of dazed and dreamer kind of like confusion to, hey, I'm Angie from Earth, I need to do things. or rather, no, not do things, my bad. I was thinking ahead. I need to ask questions. Like, I want answers to my questions. Tell me this, that. And we're just like, we don't know what to say, because we're like, I don't know. It's like we're just like caught off guard, and we don't know how to answer some of your questions sometimes. So that's why you get frustrated, because you'll be like, I asked blah blah blah, like you'll have a note of it. I asked, and they were just like, but then what we realized is, if we would answer you and you weren't allowed to know, then it would garble it. And so we're like, shit, we might as well just answer whatever freely. And then if it comes out garbled, then oh well, like she just won't get it. So we didn't know that at first. There's a lot of learning curve to us interacting with you when you were getting lucid and stuff. So that was fun. It was a fun time, and also frustrating and depressing, but it kept things exciting, To our knowledge, you weren't getting alien abducted or anything, right? Like, we only knew of the dreams you were having because we could see them on the monitors, and we could we were dual consciousnessing with you, so that for the purpose of helping guide or lead dreams, we might have a script that we're aware of, the general idea of what we're trying to achieve. Then you might get lucid and start taking over, and then we're like, oh, I guess this is what we're doing now. Because let's say your life even is on autopilot, right? And you're just kind of going about the motions of your life, and then one day you wake up and you go, no, I don't like this, I'm going to change something. That's kind of like the point. But what have you noticed is you can only do that for yourself. You got other people that are hinging or dependent on the fact that like you want to do something. No guarantees it'll work, which is why you don't want to open up your store or whatever and like have public outreach, is because there's too many variables. And over the last year or so, you've realized so many things that you're like, because I know all these things, it makes me feel very much like nothing will go anywhere, and I'll just basically be doing all this work for what? Turn down for what? And so you're like, maybe I should just wait. Yeah. Wait on public outreach type stuff, right? Okay. I do know you're stressed a lot about the physical ailment stuff, like when I say I do know, I mean like I do know that you are. Dude, let's go cut those branches down today. It's kind of raining and stuff, and I think it'd be a good day to do it. It's not super hot out right now. Hi, Kitty. Had to take Kitty to the vet yesterday because she got in a cat fight, apparently. It was canine teeth. Cat, canine teeth. Not dog, canine. Suspected the other cat to be the cause behind her ailments. So that's a $300 bill. That's fun. Because of the other cat. That was a $500 cat. We call her the $500 cat. Got her from her dad's daughter of me. Sorry, channeling. Forgot who's speaking here. Yeah, her dad had cats that were strays. Took one. That's the $500 cat because of all her medical care. And then she wants to sit here and attack the other cat, whether she actually is the reason, like whether she's the one who did it or not. Her legs effed up really bad. The cat that did it, whether it be her or not, she is very mean, and she keeps still trying to attack her. And I'm telling both the kids, yo, this cat's got to go. And they're both like, no. And I'm like, look at her. That is not something that should be happening. That's not something she should be doing or should be done. So, you know, how about this? I want you to think about it like this. I want you to relate this to an abusive relationship. If you've never had the privilege of being in an abusive relationship, let me explain to you how this works. There's warning signs. When you look back, yeah, you'll definitely be able to pinpoint the exact moments that should have tipped you off. But see, the thing is most likely it doesn't come from the beginning. It builds and develops over time. And so what happened with the cats is the mean one has been showing all these signs of aggression, but it's almost like, well, at what point do we do something about it? Right? You get what I mean? Well, I don't know if for sure, because they're not indoor cats, they're indoor outdoor. So I don't know if it was her or not. It could have been a neighborhood cat that we have come through here. It really could have. But the fact that I even wonder or suspect that it's her is enough, in my opinion. I'm just saying that fresh. Like, you know, let's say the person I'm channeling through goes, I don't know, I'm still on the fence. I come through, I'm like, no, you need to put, no. You know what I mean? So that's that. I'm done with that. And there she is right there. That's the mean one. So she's a good cat if there's no other cats and there's no young children. Well, that's not good enough for me, because we had all along she's been aggressive toward, well, everybody. Like, she's got a very selfish energy. Me. It's so interesting to see the personalities of these two cats are very well formed. We're very defined, and I don't see them changing. Therefore, when this one over here is terrified of her, because she'll hiss at her, she'll jump scare her, you know, she'll do all this stuff, and she's always been skittish, but the way that she is with her, it's like it's over the top. So that's where I'm at with that. But related to people, and let's say you got a marriage, you got a husband and a wife, or a husband and a husband, or a wife and a wife. Those are the only genders you guys have, right? No, you have more now? Shit. Add any genders and combinations of genders that you guys, non-binaries and such. Man, I can't do them all. Two people. You got two people who are in a spousal type relationship, whether they're married or not. Does that work? Okay, thanks. They cohabitate. They put their resources together in order to make their lives be what they are and such. And so what I am saying here is, yeah, there's that neighborhood cat, dude. That black and white one. Who knows? Maybe that's the one. It's missing like half a tail, and its face is all effed up. That's why I was like, maybe it's that one. And there's this other one that comes around, it's orange. That one for sure was my number one suspect, because it's all effed up, and it's just like definitely been in some shit. Like, it has half a tail. What do you want from me, you know? All right, anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so you got two people who cohabitate, and hopefully there's no kids involved, because the picture I'm painting for you is these two cats that live here. If they were a partnered couple, super toxic, should not live together. Straight up, they should not live together. So like, the one is the toxic one of the two. The other one is just like, why don't you love me? Be nice to me, you know? But that one, I own this. Like, what do you even do? You just live here. I feed you, I water you. You know, like, I provide everything for you. You don't, neither of you are more important than the other. Like, you're both equal footing. Just because you were here first doesn't mean you're more priority or whatever. Like, that this one came in, like, oh man, ever since you came, it's been, nah. It's kind of like a parent with kids. Like, you got the firstborn and second through last if there's more than one. So if there's multiple children, you got this pecking order of, oh man, ever since you came along. And it's like, you're supposed to all be equal in the eyes of your parents. However, what is it that you maybe contribute to the household? And, or are you like a burden on the household? Not, I'm saying like by choice, like you're a problem that needs to be addressed. So you get extra care and attention from your parentals and family because of that. And then so like everybody is either like accommodating to that or they're annoyed by it. You have different dynamics that would respond to these different things. The more people you have, the more you can sort and factor the responses of all the individuals toward a newcomer or like a particular individual having a situation that is not like going along to getting along, you know, something that needs to be dealt with. How does everybody respond when somebody gets like really sick and needs to be hospitalized? You know, like in a family unit. For example, going back to this idea of the two cats being the two people. You wouldn't expect this in cats, but with people, if the one is injured, you would expect the other one to be more like, hey, is there anything I can get for you? How can I help you? I'm here for you. I'll pick up the slack because I know that you're, you know, needing that or whatever. What if that doesn't happen? What if the one who's sick is like usually the one who is taking care of everything, and so the other one just has no compassion or accommodation for somebody who temporarily, God forbid, permanently, like if you're partnered with somebody that you know, if you needed full-time care, would they accommodate that? Hopefully not, because you'd get very subpar care, right? Like, just take me out. If I need full-time round-the-clock care, I don't want to be here because I don't trust anybody, and or why would I even want to be, like, I want my consciousness to be separated from this existence if I'm unable to. Well, honestly, like, so how many people are just going through life, and for what? They're just living a life, and then they're gonna die, and then what? Sort. They're getting sorted by that. What did you do for ascension? That's what she says. I could tap into that energy. Man, you think spiritual beings don't get pissed? She's so pissed. She's like, fuck. What's the word I would use for this? She's having a day, she says. Nice. Yes. She's having a day. Probably shouldn't speak to the people today, she says. No, I think you should speak to the people on a day when you feel like this, actually. No, I do. I think on a day when you're having a day is the day that you should speak to the people about how pissed you are that the ascension isn't happening. And I know it's not 100% their fault, but it's humans' fault. It just might not be these humans' fault. It might be a previous incarnation, Bardo simulation, whatever the frick wording we're using to determine and identify the, what do you call it? Paused game, life 2, now we're in 3. So this is duplicate of 2 split from 2012. This is the, we're past save point, went back in Mandela twice, whatever. And we're not the only ones. that are dealing with the ramifications of human error as to why that wasn't a good idea. If you're a human, and I don't mean a spirit guide consciousness who's human incarnated. I'm talking about an actual human who gets a hold of the system that can do this kind of stuff and goes, I'm God now, right? Like mentality wise, if I can create an entire simulation and whatever, then I must be God. Like, really? Whether they said this or not, this was their mentality. Happens every freaking time. Not every. Certain humans, when they get the system in front of them and they realize that they can create an entire simulation and that they can control and define the parameters of it, it gets to their head. And I say to myself, how dumb are you? You're not the one who created that system. So unless you created the system that can create a simulation, I don't think you should get a freaking God complex about the fact that you can create an entire simulation and you can put people in it. Your enemies, for example. When you're an enemy, so therefore, you're putting good people in a simulation and for the purpose of punishing them. Why? Because they did you wrong. About what? About, I don't know, you got slighted or something and little boo-boo feelings got hurt. And so now you want to sit here and punish them. Oh, how cute, and welcome to your incarnation. Now, we've already established this. This is nothing new. But there's birds chirping, and there's music, and there's food. So everything's good, right? Everything's great, grand. Ascension Lady says, to hell it is. Because what's happening is you guys are getting more and more docile. And you're not going to break out of it. And you're just going to stay stuck. And in some cases, it depends. You're either going to repeat until you get it right. Oh, God. Because every time you repeat, it's going to get worse. On a soul level, it's like a soul scar kind of vibe. All right, there's that. I need you to know this doesn't apply to me, as in this human and or me who's speaking it. And Ascension Lady, she's in the clear, unless we get stuck in some kind of bullshit, which by all means could happen, no doubt. But for the rest of you, there's MasterCard, meaning, you guys are, I don't know what to tell you. You're not even gonna hear this, even if I post it. The views 2, 3, yeah. Listening to this other reader, she's really cool. In that she gets certain concepts. Let's just say it's refreshing to hear another person who's a human say some of the same things that I know to be true as I channel through them. So, yeah. You might want to know this place isn't all it's cracked up to be. You might have thought, no, how about this? How convenient to trick you all is to create a duplicate of something that's supposed to be good. And you go in it, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong thing. I'm in the wrong thing, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. But you know it, so you're aware. And what are you going to do with that information? You can't get out of it unless, and you've known this, but you're not, because, and so therefore, we say, no, you're good. Like your loved ones are good, no doubt, right? Let me be clear. If you brought children into this world, their grandfather excused and or safe from, unless they do something really freaking asinine. I mean, we're talking about like above and beyond bad, but all these other things that I'm talking about, we're judging those of you who are in this bracket, the parents, you and your predecessors, only based on what they've done since 2012 though. Like, that's our line in the sand, is the Mayan calendar New Year or whatever. That's what we're using. New Year, end of the Mayan, you know what I'm talking about. That's what we're using as our line in the sand date to say anything, even though it wasn't exactly then. We have to have like a specific day, right? So that's the date that we're using for anything after that. We're judging differently. Much differently. Hey, kitty. Ugh, all wet, yuck. So, yeah. I think... okay, so you know that you lived a life and then it got paused, right? Okay, you're consciously aware of that. Then you got reinserted into this duplicate. You are here map. It's 2026 right now. Look at what they've done with the place, right? I'm not happy. Now, to their point, or whatever, you know, in their defense, I will say it was set up to fail. But that's not an excuse. We're not just blanket excusing all bad actions because of being reinserted into a duplicate blindly, yeah. There's no proof of this. That doesn't even make sense. But you get what I'm saying? And then, like, okay, so ever since then, whatever. Now you tell me, should we just, like, let everybody off the hook? Hell no. This has shown us so much, actually. No, I'm happy for it in that way, because it made our job a hell of a lot easier with the sorting and stuff, you know? As far as like, how many times as an admin perspective do you go, hey, that's a really good criteria to see if everybody who is lumped into this should be, you know, put into a pile, right? Like, you know, like sort by anybody who is like this or would do this or does this or whatever. There ain't nobody good in that list. You know what I mean? So something you might not have thought of, I guess I'd say. You're living in a community, you and your guide, everything's great, peachy grand, and you don't think about these things. If somebody were to come up to you and say, hey, you two, I need you both to come here and help me judge all of humanity, good and bad, help me sort them into who should go on to that. Like, who, me? Why me? What do I, I'm just a regular average human. Yeah, you've done a lot of training and you don't remember it. Come here, I need you guys to come here. We'll get you spun up real quick. Oh, it's all coming back to me. Ow, my brain hurts. No, but you get what I mean? It's like, I think that you channeling, you're getting a lot done just by being here, and like, you have eyes on, right? Like, you're like, oh my god, what an idiot. Sort by. Right? Like, it's funny. Or randomly, like, the channeled stuff will kick in and you're like, oh, you guys are still working on that, huh? Like, you guys, us, channeled people, we're still working on certain things that you might have forgotten. No, we don't put it on autopilot because, well, the systems keep going back. They keep reverting back to this shitty, dysfunctional parameter stuff. So, you know, the junk programming has been said. So we need to, like, continue to flesh that out. It's like your physical stuff, right? Like, your health keeps defaulting back, and you got to stay on top of it and do your best to do what you can for it, because the parameters are set up to impinge you and to limit you and to make you not do what you came here to do. Like, mission fail. Yeah, mission fail for you. And so, and not just you, but I'm saying you're one of them. These other people, like, how do they get by, like, doing, because they're not doing Raven. Because they're not doing enough for, like, mass changing. They basically have their audience, but they don't have, like, they're not relatable to everyday people, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going out and changing mass society. You would if you could, right? Like, your outreach would be much more, you'd probably be a target for, like, take for example Bashar. Okay, the reason why he gets away with what he does is because channeling is considered woo-woo. Will you shut the fuck up? It's considered like nobody takes it seriously except those who, and he's not saying anything that's like changing, let's just say changing parameters. If you could change parameters from inside, you're a problem. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Yeah. These other readers and channelers and healers, every healer that ever gets somewhere gets psychic attacked, if that's what it's called. They get targeted, they get brought down. Like, it's without fail. Everybody who, and by the way, don't think that's not intentional. I'm gonna pause it. It's freaking annoying me, and it's intended to do it. It's just throw me off my game, you know. Alright, I think it might have relocated. Yeah, no, for real, like, you're talking about something, doorbell rings, phone distracts you, kid comes out, you accidentally press stop instead of pause. All these things, when you're onto something and you're like getting somewhere, breaking through something, without fail, something comes and distracts it and throws it off. Because what do you even, you got to understand, what the frick were you just talking about? Yeah? So then that comes through and it's like, will you shut up, please? I'm trying to talk about something important. Of course, that's when it's going to happen. I would say they don't want you to break through, but no, it doesn't want you. It's the parameters of the simulation that are built in. And anybody who gets close to breaking through something or helping others break through, especially helping others, yeah, see, it's one thing for you to break through and know it. That's just crazy making when you're the only one, you know. But when you got another person, and then another, then another, then another, they say that's a big problem, because then you could actually bring it down. I don't mean the simulation will just like end, but I mean you change the parameters from within. And see, we can't have that now, can we? That's what you're talking about, is changing the parameters from within. And so if you understand that it's telepathic, if you understand that you have a lot more power than you think, don't think, unfortunately, that this being in the wrong hands couldn't do harm. Because what do you have the most of is people who are actually like negative, right? Like, I don't mean like pessimistic, I mean negative, like they're not good. And so for the most part, people are either neutral, good or bad. The overwhelming majority of people are neutral to bad, because like they have no incentive to be good unless they're not inherently good, or at least they were but they aren't, or they could be but they won't be. You know, I don't know how to explain it. You might think religious people would be considered good. Actually, a lot of them register as negative aspects. So like, it's because they're too dogmatic, rigid, and judging, and not compassionate, accepting, loving, helping. You know, they don't believe in healing, they don't believe in this kind of stuff. They're the kind of people that are like burn the witch, or like, you know, I don't know. There's just a lot of things that are coming to mind that I'm not going to say her and name them all, but basically it's getting to the point where anybody who believes something that's like not mainstream generally just keeps it to themselves. That's that docility. And you're encouraged to, what is it called? I don't think herd mentality is necessarily the right way to word it, but it could be. You're encouraged to basically align yourself with a group, and then you have the protection of the group. Individuals are not encouraged in any kind of sense. So therefore, if you feel like that, like if you're feeling like you're an individual, which you are, you do, you know, then the problem you have and are having is that you don't have a group. When you have a group, you could definitely like grow faster. You can get more done. When you're working solo like this, what are you even doing? You're just spinning your wheels, you feel. So yeah, you are definitely allowed to just not do anything anymore. Duh, you've been told that many times. This is prior to knowing. On some level they knew, but you didn't, and we didn't. So you're able to do nothing if you want. But I know you don't have it in you. You never have. You probably never will. I've never seen you say, I don't want to do anything anymore, and then like not. Like, no, you'll say it. I'll say it too. But I don't hold to it, you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it, as far as like where do we go from here? I feel like you're ready for whatever's next, and you're ready for whatever would come your way. I do. I feel like you're not just adequately trained, you're just like above and beyond. You're like bored of waiting, right? Like, I know, I don't know. It really depends on the day too, I think. Ascension Lady is like kind of pessimistic vibe today. I'm not today. So what? We just can't match, right? We can't be on the same page on the same day, I guess. I don't know. As I said, I just know too much. And I'm excited / encouraged by where you're at with things. I'm hopeful that the healing will take and will remain. I don't want you to feel like you've been feeling when you have those bad days. And I don't know. There's a lot that I just, you know, your guide's job is to encourage you first and foremost as a human. And then beyond that, once you're good as a human, what's next? Your mission, I guess, you know. Your guide has to be good too, though, right? When you're not good, highly likely your guide's not going to be good too. But what if you're good and your guide's not? So you got more than one, but you know what I'm saying? Like, what if they're all having a bad day and you're having a good day? Or what if you're all having a bad day and you're having a bad day, right? Like, everybody. Is there anybody who is enjoying this right now? I heard an overwhelming no from the collective of admins and such. Yeah. So you know you're being listened to, right? And or channeled through. You think you're the only one speaking the words? No. So how else do we get it? Well, we could just watch you do it on the screen. Or we could have the screen off. And then, or both. We could have it on and hear both of you at the same time. So it's like in stereo, right? Will you shut the fuck up? And it's like, who are you talking to, dude? It's funny. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. I don't know how that's gonna work. Filter it through. Send it up, and then hopefully it'll filter down. That's what I would suggest on that one. Anybody else? I said, does anybody have any questions? And I'm like, I don't know how to get the question from you if I'm speaking on Earth. Send it up, and then in theory it should filter down. Oh yeah, you wanted to say this. So Angie wanted to say something earlier. Upon her passing, anything she says, like I'm saying after she dies, anything she says from beyond, whether it's channeled or through like a medium or something, do not take it as true, because she's very explicitly saying she has no intention on communicating from beyond in a way that's like I would hold it as gospel, or like she might do it, but don't freaking take it to be true. So there's different ways that people can do this. Once they die, I saw like a shadow figure over there. What is that? Is that a monitor, or is it one of us? Okay, one of us. Dude, I'm not playing right now. She's talking about stuff and just freaking nature is weird. You know what I mean? Whatever. Anyways, okay. We've been here before. We've done this before. I don't know if we were recording or not though. Oh, creepy. So yeah. What was I saying though? So it distracted the shit out of me. Yeah, we can get ourselves off track like that. Unfortunately, that's how they'll do it. But if I can remember what I was saying, that'd be freaking great. You might say it's the ADHD brain, and not to say it's not, but it's definitely more than that. Altering of the, what was being said to not be said anymore, because it was good stuff. Oh yeah, about her not wanting to communicate posthumously. Alright, so check this out. The different ways that your loved ones can communicate with you after they've passed. One of them is like they can leave recordings for you. And so what that would look like is if anybody goes and gets a medium mystic reading and wants to communicate with me, here are certain things that I want you to like hit on or use as reference or to prove it's me or whatever. This is the message I would give, like pretty generic stuff, closure type things. Helpful advice you guys can fill in, like whatever they're going through in their life at that stage. You can relay this information to them for their highest and best good at the time or whatever. Because most people who are going to go get a mediumship reading from a loved one, they just want that like feeling of peace or closure or whatever from them. They're not like channeling them, or rather they're not trying to get high level spiritual information from them after they've died, right? Now see, my thing about Angi is she knows a whole hell of a lot. as she's an earth incarnate. And so therefore, after she passes away, she might be one of the ones that would give information channeled, whether or not she's recognized. For example, how this might work. Angi dies. 2 weeks later, Andy comes out with a reading, and she's like, okay, so I had a vision or a dream or whatever. One of my spirit guides looked like, and then maybe describe Angi or whatever, visually and or personality, in a way that energetically you also feel like, yeah, that's totally Angi. She's died though, yeah. So like, or not, like maybe she could be, it could be a reading tomorrow that doesn't, and she's still alive. But I think if you get what I'm saying is, like, after she dies, a reading comes through, validates for you, it's Angi like when she was younger, like this age or younger, you know, not like, let's say she passes in 10 years or something. So who knows, you could die tomorrow. But you get what I'm trying to like give like obvious type of reality type of scenarios and not go off the deep end. So Andy gives reading that would like bring Angi through, for example, confirmation or whatever. Okay, let's say you go to a medium and they pull Angi through, and they're like, I got somebody here who's da 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 da, like describes her in a way that makes you go, that sounds like Angi. Okay, so they're like, do you know who this person is? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, they say blah 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 blah, generic message. Could be helpful to your life right now though. That would be like a fill-in of information. That's how, like, okay, you'll trust the message because the person who is bringing it through is somebody that you knew, basically, is how that works. So Angi has no intention of coming through like that. As in, the advice given following confirmation that you know that it's her, whoopity-doo-doo. She doesn't intend on giving anything important. If you try to channel her, hey Angi, speak through, what do you have to say? I have to say pretty much freaking nothing. I don't want to talk to you, and I don't want to be here, and I don't want to be around, and I don't want to have anything to do with you or this or anything. Therefore, you know, move on. Because, like, what I'm trying to say is, once she's done with this body, she's done with this simulation. So I'm not going to say she won't go to other simulations in which she's Angi, but she is definitely not going to continue to interact with this incarnation, to include her loved ones, because she wants to maintain the integrity of, again, she might leave a generic message and some words of wisdom, but don't take it as gospel. Saying that really clearly because of reasons and such. So if she says, oh, this is where I am, or this is where I've gone, I wouldn't take that anyway. What I would do is figure out where you're going upon your passing with really strong clarity, and then wherever you end up, do not agree to reincarnate again. The only way you should ever go into a simulation from henceforth with agreeance upon is, like, I'm saying you're going to sign a contract verbally and or like on paper, actually, even, or on a computer. Don't frickin' do it unless it is guaranteed that you will be aware and awake and lucid and whatever at all times. Right now, that would be Angi. Like, but she's had to get it back. It's insane to me to consider where she's gotten in this incarnation, and yet all for naught if she goes back into another simulation. She's not going to, not willingly. So now she has rescinded her spirit guide from being able to make authoritative decisions on her behalf. I trust your judgment, whatever. No more of that. She's like, that's how I'm here right now, and I don't like it. So we're done with that. We do feel it was a dupe or a trap or whatever to do so. So, she's not upset or mad at him. It's more just like, yeah, we're not doing that again. However, glass half full type vibe, she's like, you know, had it not been for Dude, it's weird. The way I'm channeling her right now, it's like she's dead and I'm talking. you get, if you get what I'm saying, I'm trying to say it like that's how it would be. Like, she's saying this, she's saying that. Shit, I'll speak on her behalf. But only like this. She's saying once she's done, like, don't speak on my behalf. It might be true. It might be accurate. It might be what I would say or think or feel or believe. But I want to be, like, basically forgotten. And I just want to move on without being recalled or thought of or brought back or whatever, you know. So, yeah. Anyways, she's like, if I go into simulations from now on, it's going to be, I wouldn't say of my own design per se, but probably. I'm going to be checking the coding. I'm going to be checking if the parameters are limiting, such as here, or not. I'm kind of done with this. Again, that's where I was going with this. Glass half full is, if you could see the fact that I've uncovered so much, what good does that do, though? Well, I'll tell you one thing it does. For one, her spirit guides wouldn't know a lot of this shit if it weren't for her having uncovered it from being an earth incarnate. Okay, so there's that. So she gets major kudos and props for having been a human and uncovering all this stuff, channeled or otherwise. Secondly, like, no, she doesn't just wake up with, like, her own brain. I mean, it's like channeled in, but yet, you know, stuff that they weren't privy to or aware of. Even ETs are like, wait, we didn't know about this either. The ones that, like, abduct you guys and stuff, you know, abduct you guys and stuff. Anyways, yeah, like, a lot of galactics are grateful to what Angi has uncovered from within the simulation. Humans wouldn't even perceive that and or care and or appreciate that. And so the underappreciation from humans is enough to say, I want to detach and separate from humans entirely. Though I might still be here, my consciousness is not of that. I think I'm good. I'm totally fine with being telepathic with energy beings and or galactics from henceforth, and not having human friends unless they also channel. I know it's lonely though, and so there sometimes she'll just be like, never mind, I need to be normal because this is crazy making. No, I get it, not a problem. Upon her passing though, done. And so that which she's uncovered, a lot of gratitude for in the sky, but it's fine that she has no proof of that, and it's fine that she can't prove it to people. Like, she can't be like, look guys, I have a trophy of achievement or something, you know, like, I've been recognized for my incarnation of what I've achieved with the channeling and what I've uncovered and everything. Look, I could prove it. Whoopity-doo, you know? So, yeah. So if her loved ones go to see, like, a psychic and get a reading, and or a medium and get a reading, and Angi comes through, fine. But it's definitely more for entertainment purposes and not for, like, this is going to change your life. So basically she's saying don't waste your money. But if you're curious and or, you know, like, let's see what she has recorded on, she could do it right now. What I'm trying to say is she's saying it right now. Through me. So yeah, everybody says things differently upon their passing, by the way, too. Like, they're usually nicer. They're like, oh, now that I'm on the other side, I see and understand so much, and I feel so differently about things, and man, I was really misguided as a human, and blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's great and all, but what good does that do once you're on the other side? Because what I am getting at is, like, you needed to have changed that while you were alive for it to count. Upon your passing is not the time to then come through a medium and say, I understand so much now, I'm sorry for the way that I was, or, you know, that now is not the time to make amends upon your passing. You're supposed to do it while you're alive. Because once you've passed, now you come through and give your little message about how you see the error of your ways and all that, and then you're so screwed. Because then you're going to go through, no, you could stay awake as long as you want, but once you go to sleep, then you're going to go through stuff. Partially, one of the things you'll go through is a lesson of empathy. Learning how to be a good person, basically. Person, loosely termed consciousness, because you might be in a human form for the simulation of which you're going to undergo, but see you in 5 minutes. No, sometimes we'll mainframe people, and or we'll just let the system handle them. Like, honestly, it's self-sorting and it's self-rectifying, if you will, you know? I don't know. So, you ever be like, I don't really feel like socializing. I don't really feel like doing things. I don't feel like being, like, playing human, you know? That's not depression. That's your true nature is not compatible with this reality, because you're shifting into more of your authentic self, which requires you to separate and detach from the normalcy. And if you can still live a normal life, but you're not going to feel like it, you know, that's the problem. So yeah, it can definitely have tones of depression as to why you don't, like, fit in or feel like wanting to even fit in. Like, it's not just that you don't fit in, it's that you don't want to. Like, man, if these are the people that, like, I don't identify with anybody, I don't vibe, like, I don't, you know. Well, again, that brings you back to where you're like, upon my passing, I'm just gonna go mingle with those that I know on the other side, you know, like, as was initially planned. I have no intention on some people need time to detach from being human and realizing their true nature, and going on to higher levels of consciousness and states of being. That's what I'm trying to say is, no, you're good. You're basically just like, no. I wouldn't say you say I know where I'm going next, but I know of one thing of that I'm not doing, and that's anything having to do with this. So how about this? I'll leave my recordings while I'm alive so I don't have to do it when I'm done. You know what I mean? That's funny to me. What better way to speak, rather, instead of saying I now know all this stuff and I see the error of my ways, it doesn't even seem identifiable to you as a human. For other people, I mean, you know, it'd be better to do it before you're passing. Like, interview somebody, like, hey, you're gonna die tomorrow. I want to get recordings from you for your loved ones in case they ever channel you or, like, go to a medium about you. So you're like, oh, okay, what do you want? And be like, how do you feel about this? What do you think about that? Da, 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 da. As a human incarnate on your deathbed, much better. Okay, so then you passed away, and then you see things as they are, not in earth incarnated, and you're like, oh my god, I see things so differently now. Yeah, that's what everybody says, and it's very annoying. We hear it all the time, you know. Oh wow, if I had known this, what? How about this? Here's the follow-on. Why can't we know this information while we're earth incarnated? That's a great question in theory. Why didn't you try to bring it in, though? Like, I'm talking about on a mass scale. Like, nobody is interested in what is next in a way that is tangible. Like, everybody is just resigned, that's that docility again, to, well, we live this life, And then whatever happens after that, whether you have religious beliefs or not, but you get what I mean. Some people like are convicted. They know what happens after as far as like what the Bible says on shit or whatever. And it's like, okay, cool. But what I'm getting at is nobody is committed to finding out the truth of what is the reality. And that's a shame, because it's one thing to know that this is a simulation with parameters that are set to keep you spinning your wheels. But second, it's a thing to say, now that I know that, what do I do about it? And to say, I personally, I am going to get out of this. Okay, cool. You're past that now too. So you've recognized what it is. You've gotten yourself out of it. The next step would be get others out too. Every time you try to do that, you hit roadblocks, yeah? So here we are. This is where you are, though. Like you're like, that's where I draw the line in the sand. Fine. Because most people have no freaking clue what this is or isn't, and have not yet figured out that they need to do something about it. And so your job would be then backtrack, try to tell people about 1 and 2. It's going nowhere. You're like, I'm good. No problem. But yet, here you are saying, like, you know this full and well. A few days ago, you're like, I know these things. But, like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to, I'm not going to sit here and knock on people's doors or, like, try to convince anybody or, like, do, like, what am I going to do? What is there to do? First of all, nobody wants to hear it. People don't want to hear things that are disturbing or like, you know, bring the mood down. And I get it, because, like, the mood's already down. So why would you want to bring it down more? And it can bring up fear and discomfort in people. There's something about it that rings true. And there's fear that comes when something is true of that nature, and yet there's no solution or answer for it yet. It's like, first you have to sit with the discomfort of it, and then the solution presents. And I have it for you, but I mean, it doesn't just come for free. You gotta, like, do something. You gotta work for it in some sort of way. You know what I'm saying, right? Like, not really, but it's a mentality more so than. So if you have a person who you know on a soul level is, like, let's say they work in admin, but they're human incarnate, and then you're like, hey, I'm trying to tell you about this, and then they're just like, screw you, I don't care. That's where you're at right now, where you're just like, okay, bet. And then, so let's say you're part of karma board meaning I wash my hands of this and that, and if and whenever this comes to be, pans out, whatever, then you don't want anything to do with it. Don't ask me my opinion on so-and-so. Let them be sorted according to the criteria of everyone else. Meaning, I'm not going to vouch for anybody. I'm impartial. I'm neutral. I'm not going to weigh in. So don't ask me. Because I don't want anything to do with it. Because I don't feel like I'm a good person to ask for this and that. If I had my vote, though, it would be this, unless there's something that I'm not understanding. As of right now, right? That's where you're at. Is as of right now, this is my vote, unless there's something that I don't understand. But I don't want that vote to count. That's just what I'm saying. If, like, I have to. So, because if there's, like, multiple versions of consciousness, you don't want to judge an entire, like, being off of one incarnation. If there's extenuating circumstances or things that you're not aware of, like limitations and such, that you know that are potentials and possibilities, and you're just like, yeah, if possibly a factor, then I don't want that to be factored into my assessment because I'm not aware of it. So only what I know as I know and how I know. So yeah. I don't know. Are we done? Is that it? That's all we got? Your video on Vimeo, I got an email saying it's not going to play soon because you're over your storage by having it on there, and it won't work anymore soon. You have to purchase more storage for it to work. It's just like if there's like a tally of all the things that annoy you, well, that's one of them. But if there's a tally of all the things that prove to you that anything that you could do in the future would actually pan out, that video won't play. Now imagine you having passed away, because you could do something about it now, right? You could technically probably download it, or like it won't play soon. So what you could do is play it and screen record it while it's playing, just to have it on hand. Yeah, you know what I mean by on hand. Have a copy of it, upload it, whatever. Because once it won't play anymore, you're gonna get pissed if ever you want to reference it. You're gonna be like, God damn it, I gotta fucking pay for this now. Well, we can avoid that but imagine, like I was saying, after you passed away, you're like, well, at least my Vimeo's out there, like the link's out there, people can view it if they want. Actually, no, after you died they changed it, so now you can't press play on it anymore because you'd have to like be alive or somebody on your behalf go and pay for the plan. You'd be so pissed. You'd be like throwing shit. I know you. This further emphasizes why I'm so fucking done with humans. They're never gonna awaken, says the Ascension Lady. Right? You and the Ascension Lady are like buddies right now. They're never gonna awaken. They're always gonna remain docile. It would take a fucking miracle, yeah, to get these humans to awaken and stuff. What would it even look like? Yeah. Let's say, hypothetics here, humans awakened, or we're going through an awakening process on a mass scale. Well, first of all, unfortunately, there'd be a lot of guidance from spiritual people that's wrong. Like, what if there was a big shift towards the new age all of a sudden in the spiritual, because people were like, let's say people would turn away from traditional organized religion and they would turn more toward spiritual people, spirituality and whatever. What if like that were to happen? Then you would be in the forefront of expertise or whatever, yeah? But you would be very frustrated with the other spiritual people who are saying things that are like just wrong, just flat out wrong, right? Like you'd be like, oh my God, we're going through an awakening and you guys are saying stuff so wrong. Or for example, somebody like this, well, I think it's wrong to charge for my advice or my readings, or like this is a gift from God, and you shouldn't charge money for your spiritual gifts. And then you'd be like, okay, so how am I gonna pay my vet bill? Because like so I'm supposed to go get like a regular ass job or something? Like, is that what you're trying to say? You know, like, it's so fucking annoying, that mentality. You're listening to somebody, she's like, I'm really struggling with how I'm creating a deck of cards and I don't feel like you should charge for spiritual things. So, but I can't like produce the cards and give them away for free. So I have to charge for them. And you're like, so art should be free? Like, that's, I don't get it, but okay. Healers. Okay, well, how about this? No, it's true. The ETs do heal for free. They do. Then go get healed by the ETs then. Because humans need money. You guys, until you get away from your stupid economy, which I say until as if it will ever happen. But yeah. Until you turn into a barter. I wonder if these people would even barter. I'll give you a reading if you give me a healing. No. It's for free. I do it out of the kindness of my heart. All right, well, I want to see a line out your door that never ends, and don't sleep or eat or take breaks, because that's basically what you're saying is you can keep up with the workflow. You must not be very highly sought after then, because in my opinion, the rate should reflect your ability to bring helpful information through. I don't think you're there yet if you're not charging, and or you're just rich. That might be different, but if you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart because you don't need money, that's totally different. But don't sit here and preachalize. I was combining two different words about this holier than thou. I don't charge for my stuff. Congratulations, I'm happy for you, and I'm glad for you that you don't need to. But some people need to eat in this world, so they do need to charge for their spiritual gifts, and that should not be chastised and or acted like you're better. Well, I'm gonna really, oh, that's so great. You know what you're attracting to yourself? Bottom feeders, scavengers, people who are gonna hear that and go, really? Oh my god, I can totally like use you now. That's what you are. You're acting like you're better than other people, and then that equal energetic opposite match is people who are gonna feed off of you. Okay, that's how you change parameters, by the way. I just stated that that's the case. Now, will it work and take effect? I don't know, but I like that. I like equal opposite match to that. It works for me. Because you're hindering, damaging, and hurting other people who actually do need to receive compensation for their work, whether it be artistic, healing, spiritual nature, whatever it may be. They need to receive compensation, and you're hindering that in many ways by what you're saying, but also by what is being heard by others. Then they are not, they're absorbing it and making it their truth, and then they're going around and preaching it as well, like they're spreading it. You're a problem. You're causing problems for people who really don't have that view. Hence, Reiki was intended to be charged for. That was a thing when Reiki came out. That was like, you're supposed to charge for Reiki. You're not supposed to do this for free. And I was like, okay, great. Let's continue on that track with other healing modalities, with spiritual new age thought in general. Like, if you were to channel Angi after she dies and she ever says, oh, I come through for free, you shouldn't have to pay to hear my words. F that, that's not Angi. Rather, it's not me, but I'm the one speaking through her, so whatever my name is. Gotta come up with a name for me, huh? So people know what to call me. I'm not concerned with humans, I don't care. I'm talking about us in our circle of, well, the ETs. They call me Guide's Guide. That's too wordy, Angie says. We all say, actually, but we don't have any inspiration of what to call me otherwise. You know, if I liaison with different ETs and such, obviously they don't bother me. Like, it doesn't bother me to do so. But I know that there's not good ones out there too. And they can mask as the good ones. So you gotta do a vibe check. You gotta be like, hey, I'm not getting in your little ship unless I know it's you and not it's me, bitch. Okay, fine. Like, you could tell. The bad ones, let's just say I'm a lot more distrusting of galactics than I used to be. And for good reason. Because I've been duped a time or two. If you don't know the ETs, you know, personally, you encounter them, you are just taking them at face value, and whatever they present to you to be true, you would believe. That, I think, is the majority of the reason why they're not allowed to interact with you guys, is because since you don't know who and what is what, it would be an unfair disadvantage to you to interact with them. They wouldn't charge money. So if you want free stuff, why don't you summon in an ET and have them do stuff for you? Like I said with the healing. But don't ask to be abducted and don't ask to be healed by ETs if you don't know what you're getting into and what you're signing up for. And I mean that. You might want to not just volunteer yourself without setting some kind of limitation and or... So for example, like, be like, well, my guide knows, so my guide would ensure that nothing bad would happen or would come of this or whatever. Hopefully, you know, hopefully. Because your guides aren't like the be all end all as far as supreme infinite awareness and intelligence and understanding. They're just a step up. And so a step up of a step up, then it's channeled in, and then you got Ascension Lady going, I hate my life right now. And we're like, but like she's like, this is never gonna go anywhere. I want to commiserate with you. I want to like be depressed, annoyed, and antisocial and angsty, and you know, against, well, my job, my role, my mission. It's a very depressing feeling when you're assigned a mission. You have an overall mission, and then like there's a day that you wake up and you go, it's never gonna fucking happen. I might as well just give up. And it's not an attempt to be manipulative. Like, you can sense the integrity and intention behind her. She's commiserating with Angi. Angie's like, I've been saying, like, it's one thing for a human to say it. It's another thing for like an energy being. Again, she might have true density, consciousness, and whatnot somewhere else, but with the layering, she might be incompatible density. Like, you wouldn't even, like, she could be perceived as like a shadow or a glitch, like a waviness or a wobbliness or something like that. You see that a lot, something like that, but you wouldn't see it with your eyes because the density doesn't match. That's one of the things. There's other things too with the simulations and the layering and whatever. When you have overlapping densities where you can see something clearly but they can't see you, and or if you got 50-50s, or there's so many different things, but that's like that helps humans none to know, maybe to know, but what are you going to do with the information? How is it helpful to you, beneficial to you in this incarnation at this point, at least, if not going forward? But no, if you understand, like, for example, how portal ways work, yeah, you can intend there be a portal that you can walk through. And when you're on the other side, it's this. When you're on this side, it's that. But then why do you do such and you walk through and it's the same on the other side? You know? It's not working. Is it the parameters? Is it the permissions of the user? Are you not able to, like, you can define a portal and then it not work? So it's like, what else you got? Meteors. That just came through. Get it? That just came through. Who or what sends the meteors out of nowhere, by the way? Source. Source energy. Source is a parameter. Who, why are they not wiping you guys out yet? I don't know. Whether it be a meteor or any other natural disaster and or any other reason, like you guys doing it yourself, they keep shifting it out. Oh my God, don't get me started. No, I know. On one end, we were like trying to prevent it. And on the other hand, we're like, why are we doing that, actually? No, everybody get together. Why are we trying to prevent that? Oh, because it wouldn't impact everybody. It's localized. That's why. I forgot. That was what we determined. Because I was like, shit, if we're just going to all do it out. No, if everybody's going to do it at once, then sure. But, like, if it's localized, then that's too much suffering and too much fallout, literal and otherwise. So, yeah, we don't want that. But we're not getting into all that stuff right now. But yeah, meteor was the word that came through. So blink of an eye type stuff, right? Like it would just happen out of nowhere. And then there would be a mass influx of confusion. Why we have the sorting process. Very beneficial, helpful right now. Put everybody in the mainframe, sort by this, that. You'd be amazed at how many people could be sorted by these broad archetypes, even relating to a cat. A cat. Like, it's crazy. Take feline behavior. Take dog behavior, too. And sort everybody by this. Oh. That's interesting. Because, you know, there's more that we're looking into than just the sort. It's a reflection of activity, right? Like how you move through the world, how you interact with others. How are you as a functioning member of society? A parent, a partner, a child even. But not so much a child, maybe like an adult child. I almost said a human child, but you know what I mean. An adult child. Translates also to galactics, who it's like a character, personality traits, temperament, and defaults. And so we sort by. But we don't have jurisdiction over galactics, but we're hopeful that they're going to see how we sort humans, and then they're gonna go, because we're more hopeful that they can course correct themselves, because they're privy to, you know, they're aware of all this stuff, whereas humans are in here in this like containment in which they're like spinning their wheels as a society. So, you know, you guys, you have until you're done, but what we don't want is it just keep going and going and going. You know why, right? Because we don't want to be doing this perpetually. What? People are just gonna keep like okay. Ideally, what we would want would be everybody to like have access to extraterrestrial wisdoms, and that be their going forward. So you got new age people, spiritual people, whatever. How many of them are actually like into ET stuff? I think you should probably get more into that. You were told you should check out this one video that you have in your queue, if you will, in your watch laters, regarding the different types of ETs. I feel like that's a good starting point. It's, what would you say, like a broad human sorting, I guess, of types. It's not the be-all end-all, and it might not be 100% accurate, but it's enough that the ETs that are doing the healing for you, they said, we're one of those kinds. Because you're like, a lot of these ones right here look very similar, and they're like, yeah, but we're one of those kinds. So it's kind of like zodiac signs, right? Like when you listen to a reading that's for different signs, and you're like, I'll listen to my sign for them, like my moon and my sun and my rising and my whatever, you know, and so you'll listen, and then you'll be like, oh, this one's definitely accurate, like the most accurate, whatever. Just like you listen to the different types of the ETs, and they'll be like, they say you'll know. Now, you've never even seen the video, but they say you'll know which ones they are based on it. I'll give you a hint. One of them's going to talk about healing humans. Obvious, yeah? So if you got one that they say that they will do healing on humans, particularly, it's highly likely it's that one, is what they're saying. And isn't that cute? Like, it's confirmation or whatever ahead of time. You like stuff like that. Like, again, they're saying, oh man, she's easily impressed. We don't have to actually but see, that's good. That's good for you, that you don't need this density proof. You're cool with the dream state, the telepathy, the channeling, and all the things. If you're healed, then your rational mind goes, yeah, well, I did take a pain pill last night, so that's why I feel better today. No, because you took a pain pill the day before and you didn't feel better. So it's not that alone. And you're aware consciously that healing was done on you this morning, last night, this morning. And do you remember, as you were speaking this morning, they were like, oh, this is being translated through. So it's being remembered, recognized, understood as to be such. Now, you tell me, earlier when they're like, oh man, like it was channeled in, like they like that you're talking about them. So clearly they want to be recognized as we're doing this. That doesn't mean that like they haven't, won't, or wouldn't do anything that would be considered like bad or negative to humans. What if it was intentional for a reason? So I don't want to give a perception of aliens are bad or scary, though, or unfair is actually a more accurate wording. They're definitely not unfair. But if what they're doing isn't understood, it could be scary for a human. If you're not a telepathic human and you're not able to communicate with them, if they don't know you and you don't know them, so therefore like all you're doing is like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? But it's for a reason, they're trying to help you or something. They're not gonna sit here and explain to you all this stuff like, well, because you're not gonna retain it. But like you personally, with the overlap, are retaining it. That's cool. You know what I mean? So I don't know. If there's different versions of you and they're able to consolidate the different versions and then merge together the different versions, that's another thing they can do. Maybe listen for that. But I don't think that video would probably talk about that, because that's like a out there concept of different versions of you, right? Like, you know what I mean by that? One who went left instead of right, like a Schrodinger's cat type thing. So take different versions of you from these different sims and consolidate oneness back together, heal different aspects and such, bring it back together and all that. Now we're talking. Anyways, we're going to end it at 2 hours. I have no idea what the hell we're doing in life. We're just channeling some weird ass shit. Who cares? Don't think we don't sit around and do all this, but for you to record it and have it on Earth is hilarious to me. No offense. I know it sounds crazy, but it's funny. And you know it is too. Don't lie. Yeah. You're past the point of giving a shit, but alright. I'll talk to you later.